no idea what you're welcoming you to. It's exhausting. It's early. Welcome to Morning Read Aloud with me. I'm Eliot, your host. And this is Albrecht, Drue, Ghost Puncher by Paul D. Miller, a book I'm enjoying very much for its elegance, its inanity, its irreverence, its willingness to play with genres, and its multiple Easter eggy pop culture references, which I really appreciate. He threw in an Alison Bechdel just this morning. So I'm going to read chapter 6, A Grower, a Shower, and a Tower, which itself is a really nice, I hate the way my mouth looks. My teeth are all stained, my lips are weird. But I didn't come here to tell you that I feel weird. I came here to read you Albrecht, Drue, Ghost Puncher by Paul Miller. Chapter 6, A Grower, a Shower, and a Tower. Verse 1. Inside the brownstone at 1223 Grayson Avenue, Bitburg, Sunday afternoon. Eldon tore his eyes away from the ancient tome, the spell of its spidery Latin tracings and unspoken arcana broken by a sound altogether foreign to this sacred place. He cast a ferocious gaze about the shadowy breadth of his sanctuary, daring all intruders to meet his fiery eyes, be they worldly foe or tormentor from beyond. The sound, that insistent rapping, the beating of an alien heart, grew louder. Pounding away at the wall he directed between himself and the world, he stormed to his feet, ready to command the source of the disturbance to reveal itself. A stack of books as tall as a man atop his desk blocked his vision. But all at once, the progenitor of that infidel percussion revealed itself. "Damn it, Eldon!" came the muffled voice from somewhere outside his sanctum. "Open the fuck up, man!" Someone was knocking at his door. Eldon rubbed the bridge of his nose, pushing his thick glasses up on his forehead. He glanced behind him, past the floor-to-ceiling shelves that groaned under the weight of everything from a fourth edition of the Malleus Maleficarum to the only complete CGC-graded 9.8 run of the Claremont Byrne Uncanny X-Men in existence, to the clock on the Blu-ray player. The clock assured him it was 3 in the afternoon, which meant he was late, but not late enough that any of the ghost geeks would have noticed, let alone made the trek downtown to get him. Besides, he was driving today anyway, so who the hell was knocking on his door? Knowing only one way to find out, Eldon extricated himself from his burrow, books piled taller than him on either side of his ridiculously expensive yet equally comfortable Acornis desk chair, careful not to disturb the entropic bundles of notes that dotted the floor like a minefield. He moved with all due alacrity to the door. He looked through the peephole, couldn't make the fisheye face peeping back jibe with his expectations of reality, and went to work on unlocking every other one of the 7 dead bulbs. "Christ, man, I'm fucking aging out here," said the visitor. Eldon turned the last lock, grabbed the steel-tipped lance, standing guard beside the door. With a tug, he opened the door, saw the face of the one who disturbed his research, and let out a sigh. "Hey, Albrecht, what brings you to the lair?" "My feet," Al said, shoving himself inside, and a sixer of Old English into Eldon's arms. "What's with all the locks?" This was the first time Al had seen Eldon's place since he'd helped him move in. The kid had been so excited to be out on his own, it hadn't taken a whole lot of effort on Al's part. What with Eldon's possessions at the time consisted mostly of a milk crate full of porn and a lamp. But that didn't keep Eldon from treating him like some kind of god forever afterwards. Al was the only one who showed up, and he brought beer, so the two had christened the place, and that had been enough to earn him the title of true friend of Eldon, which looked even more lame on the t-shirt than it sounded on the page. Since then, the kid had been busy filling the place with all kinds of esoteric bric-a-brac and, oh my stars and garters. Al's eyes lit up when he saw the trove on the far side of the living room, past all the antique books, the stacks of papers, the suit of armor and the crossed claymores, stores, not mine. On the walls, an immense pair of lazy boys flanked 70 or so inch curved HD TV. Under that was a meticulous array of 8 or 9 game consoles, one of which was an honest-to-God Sega Dreamcast. Giddy from the thoughts of ghosts and punching them, precipitously expelled from his list of interesting things, Al gave Eldon a hopeful, almost desperate plea with his eyes. Eldon beamed. "Go ahead," he said, feigning annoyance. He took the sixer into the kitchen, pleased as punch at Al's reaction to his gaming setup. He put a metric shit-ton of work into it. About time somebody saw it, Al couldn't help him. He squeed, popping himself in the left-handed chair, its seat smooth and unblemished in comparison to the ass-shaped contours of its partner. He snatched up the bulky white controller and hit the power button. To his disbelief, the startup screen for the most perfect fighting game ever hummed to life. "Soul Calibur 2, the screen said. "I know you did not just enter my dojo." Eldon said, sliding his ass into his customary spot before passing Al one of the two boys. Your dojo, Al said, donning a wicked mask of deadly intent. Oh, there's some people here. Hi. So, are any, all of you have come and go. Oh, no, there's some people here. So, here's my question for anyone, two questions for anyone here. Sorry to interrupt the reading. First of all, if you like what you're hearing and you enjoy having somebody read aloud, and reading aloud is one of the great pleasures, being read aloud to is one of the great pleasures in life, I think. Short only to, I won't say what the other great pleasures are. Hit that like button and subscribe. Subscribe to me, Eliot Duhan. I read aloud all the time. Anyone left out there? Only one person left. Everybody else is gone. And the other thing is, if you find this, leave a note saying where you're listening from, because I'm always curious where my audience of zero now. Okay, forget about you people. I'll keep reading. Your dojo, Al said, donning a wicked mask of deadly intent. He popped the top, Eldon followed suit, and it was officially and mercilessly on. Son, I was Mitsurugiing motherfuckers when you were still getting boners from the Pink Power Ranger. Now, fight. Mitsurugi faced off against Voldo in a brutal reckoning years in the making. After Eldon had thoroughly trounced Al in two perfect straight victories, he dropped his controller like a battle rapper who had just schooled a buster. Whose house? Eldon said. Eldon's house, Al said grudgingly. Eldon sipped his malt liquor, not quite enjoying it, but not wanting to offend. He had a bottle of 18-year-old scotch in the kitchen, but Al had brought the OE, so he was going to drink the OE. Suddenly it occurred to Al, two things actually. I thought SC2 only came out on Xbox, he said, because one of the things that occurred to him was the fact that Soul Calibur 2 had only come out on the Xbox. Eldon smirked like he knew something Al didn't. Because he knew something Al didn't, which was awesome. It did, Eldon said, growing more enamored of his malt liquor for every sip, because that's how malt liquor works. Then how do you have it for Dreamcast? Magic. After what happened the other night, Al rolled with it. The other thing was conspicuous splendor of Eldon's home, which once you got past the mess, played Parker Brothers' classic dice game base of word finding with Al's mind. What do you even do for a job, man? You got like Doctor Strange's Sanctum fucking Sanctorum in here. That reminds me, Eldon said, standing up. He traded his can for a tablet, connected with the arm of his chair, tapped and swiped a few times. Got to check the girls. You got girls in here too? Al said, inwardly berating him for not having been back to Eldon since that first night. Eldon made a final touch on the touchscreen. Final swipe on the touchscreen and set the tablet down. Not girls, the girls. With a smooth, lubricated action, one of Eldon's bookcases sank into the wall and slid behind the others, revealing a metal door that could have withstood a naval bombardment. Eldon waved him on, so Al followed through the door and down a spiral staircase into the biggest goddamn grow room he'd ever seen. The stairs were something like out of Dungeons and Dragons, all hewn stone and ancient symbols carved right into the rock. The glyphs showed and almost glowed with a faint blue light. Traces of bioluminescent moss almost buzzed with living energy, but the trappings of the Underdark had exactly shit on what awaited for them in the chamber at the bottom of the flight. At least 50 plants, none of them shorter than him, and everyone thriving in a verdant hydroponic womb, greeted the pair as Eldon flicked on the lights. These were just the ones that Al could see. The room was cavernous, the vastness of the place still mostly lost in darkness. Girls, this is Albrecht Drue, a true friend of Eldon, and the inveterate barroom brawler. Al, these are my girls. Holy shit, Al said. You grow pot? I grow cannabis indica, which I supply only the finest pot stores in Colorado and Washington, the United States government, and some guy named Wade. Well, that explains the dreadlocks, says Al. I'm sorry, that explains the locks. I'm thinking of Eldon's dreadlocks. Eldon showed up earlier in the story. I'm sorry, Wade showed up early in the story. Okay, sorry. Well, that explains the locks, said Al. Eldon moved like a bumblebee from plant to plant, pruning, cultivating, whispering to each one words that Al couldn't quite make out. He couldn't shake the feeling there were other things moving around just outside the buttery pools of the grow lamps, but a dude who can punch a ghost straight to hell or whatever didn't have to worry about the oogity-boogities lurking just outside his vision. Eldon talked over his shoulder, completely focused on his charges. Well, these are mostly to keep the stuff upstairs safe. You know, once I came home and found a guy trying to pick him, seriously, he'd go through the whole line, work his magic on each one, then get all pissed when he finally realized he'd locked half of them instead of unlocking them. Finally, he got so frustrated, he just gave up and left. Neato. So, not that I don't like having one of my best friends show up unannounced on a Sunday afternoon, but why are you here anyway, Eldon said, finally satisfied with the state of the girls. He boxed up a few of the freshly trimmed buds in Tupperware, set them aside on a sleek metal table covered in scales and other paraphernalia. Oh, that's right. Al said, suddenly remembering why he dragged himself out of the house today. You know that dude with the faux hawk from the other night? Dax Vengeance? Vegans? Eldon said, yeah, that ghost quester prick. Lilith said you were hanging out with him. I kind of need to meet his ass. Eldon cracked up a little. Didn't you punch him in the face the other night? What can I say? I can tell. I punch a lot of people in the face. This was true. Al did punch a lot of people in the face. Well, I doubt he'd want to see you, considering the last thing he said on the subject was, if I ever see that long-haired dip fucking again, I'm going to have shoved my lawyer so far up his ass, he'll be crapping out Law and Order scripts. He said that? Al was fairly impressed by what he hoped was a metaphor. Those were his exact words, Eldon said, his fingers making their usual search through his pockets. We have a surprise appearance from Nino the cat. Hey, Nino! Nino the cat does not wish to be on camera. Come here, Neens. Come here. Nino. All right. I'm easily distractified today, I know. Oh my God. Those were his exact words, Eldon said, his fingers making their usual search through his pockets, closing around the keys that never seemed to stay in the pocket he put them in. Why do you want to meet him so bad? Al thought about revealing his recent ghost punching escapade, but he wasn't quite ready to make himself look like a crazy drunk. He could handle looking like a drunk, but the crazy part might be a little too much for right now. Just figured he might know something about ghosts and all, Al said, following Eldon into the dark. Every few yards, they passed under a sensor that turned on light a few paces ahead and extinguished the one behind. You realize I know more about ghosts than that hack ever will, Eldon said, a bit miffed. They came to another door and another stone spiral. Christ, I thought he was y'all's idol and shit, Al said. The stair opened into Bitburg's subterranean tunnel system. Eldon followed a few memorized twists and turns to another anachronistic high-tech door she opened by scanning his eye over a biosensor. What the hell had Eldon become a damn superhero? He had a goddamn castle library secret base with his own weed cage and, holy shit, a ghost geeks mobile. Eldon blushed, proud, but a little embarrassed by his conspicuous show of wealth. He held the door open. He motioned to Al into the hangar-like garage beyond. I sell a lot of marijuana. This was just too goddamn much. The room full of priceless books, Al could believe. If he'd been told that Al would have a functional Dreamcast already queued to SCII, he might have wanted proof, but he wouldn't have been surprised. The grow room, that'd have been pushing it, but this? At the head of a small fleet that Al didn't even bother to acknowledge, with a pristine midnight black, fully chromed 68 Ford Fairlane fastback with blood red doe leather seats and an airbrushed ivory Phantom on the hood. The license plate read BSSS Bitches and a pair of fuzzy 12-sided dice hung from the rearview mirror. Had Eldon secretly been awesome this whole time? He kind of was, Eldon said, thoroughly content to let Al drool near his baby, but wary enough of him getting any slobber on her until he stalked her with a cashmere chamois just in case. Till I realized he's a charlatan and doesn't know anything about real ghosts. You know that lunatic and his idiot sidekicks are actually going to go up to Cardinal Crest without even a vial of holy water or a blessed hammer to keep the spirits at bay? Is that bad? Al said, stroking the hood of the Fairlane. Eldon intercepted him, buffing the fingerprints away with the chamois before they had a chance to mar the finish. It's like walking into Fallujah without a helmet, Eldon said, snorting his derision. Al took the hint and stepped back from the car, still marveling at the 2 tons of bestial American sexuality. What's the deal about the crest? Al said, pretty sure he'd woken up there once, but maybe getting confused with somewhere else. Exasperation wrapped a garrote around Eldon's throat, reddening his face as he tried to explain this for a second time in 2 days. Look, I get that a layman like you wouldn't understand. What the BSS and every other weekend paranormal investigation club is investigate bumps in the night. We go record EVPs and cold spots and look for shadow figures and maybe come up with some cool bit of evidence we can post online for all the other guys like us. But if we're lucky, we get to witness some once-in-a-lifetime bit of poltergeist stuff. Then we go have a few beers and talk about whatever. Dax Vegans does the same thing, only he does it on TV. The thing is, the crest isn't some haunted house. It's pure evil, man, like some Old Testament Lovecraft capital evil. People have been whispering about it here since before there even was a Bitburg. You know, when the British came through during the Revolution, they could have held the entire valley with a couple of guns if they could have taken the crest, only they couldn't. And the redcoats they sent up there was slaughtered to a man. They said it was Indians, but the Indians knew better than to go anywhere near it. The Indians aren't fucking stupid. Al raised an eyebrow at Eldon, who suddenly turned sheepish. Still, it was obvious there'd be no stopping the kid until he'd finished his history lesson. Sorry about the language, but it's warranted. You know, the Catholics sent a team of exorcists up there back in the 70s, and they came back. They came back all right, one of them insane with his tongue cut out. So, Al said, fiddling with a set of mechanics tools, someone like me shouldn't go near the crest? I mean, without a vial of cold water and a blessed hammer. Eldon took the wrench out of Al's hands and set it back in place atop the red snap-on chest. No, you shouldn't go to Cardinal's Crest, not even with holy water and a hammer. Maybe you could go if you had a gun that fired the ghost General George S. Patton and Mikhail Kalishnikov, each one of them armed with miniguns that shoot silver bullets and hellfire. They make those? No, that's my point. People just don't fucking go there. Noted, Al said. Eldon checked his watch. Christ, Al, I really appreciate you dropping by. I got to get going. You want to ride home? I'd take a ride to the gallows in the steels, Al said, not even slightly exaggerating. Hey, one more person here. Hey, if you're here and you hear me, hit your like button, hit subscribe, and more importantly, leave me where are you listening from? Who are you? Leave me a comment to say, my name is so-and-so, and I am here listening to your rant from such and such a place, because that's what I want to know. Please, I'm begging you. Okay, anyway, finishing chapter 1, verse 1. Cool, your place is on the way to the investigation anyway. We just have to stop off and pick Eleanor and Grigsby before I drop you off. Eldon entered the ride with reverence, and Al did the same. The leather buckets were like dipping his ass in warm scarlet chocolate. You guys doing an investigation tonight? Eldon inserted his key into the ignition, the Fairlane roaring to life like the Kraken getting ready for release. Oh yeah, there's a lady up on Founders Row who says she's been plagued by all the usual stuff, so we're gonna go check it out. He keyed a custom panel beneath the seats, and the garage door rumbled up behind him. The BSS wasn't Ghost Quest, but Eldon wasn't a gelled-up douche bro, and if he knew what he was talking about, those might be good things. Maybe he'd been selling the Ghost Geeks short all along. Screw it, Al said. I'll tag along, cool? It was Eldon who squeed this time, but quietly. Awesome, and Dave probably won't be too much of a jerk about it. What are you on about, Al said, his most reassuring smile. Dave likes me, narrowed his voice. Dave did not, in fact, like Albrecht. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the morning. I got a bunch of things to do, but you have been listening to Albrecht Drue Ghost Puncher, and we'll be back tomorrow, or maybe even later today, with some more Albrecht Drue. If you enjoyed this reading and you like reading aloud, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, jump up and down, do the hokey pokey, and turn yourself about.